Hello, I welcome you all with love to Cousens Commentary. So, a lot's going on this week, and we'll be talking about it, but first we dance. And dancing integrates the heart and mind. To really deal with all that's going on in the world, we need to have that more full integration. Not just the mind, not just the heart, but the merging of that consciousness in a way that helps us get closer to understanding. Okay, but first we always start with a little bit of dance to get the flow going. And here we go. And the dance, again, merges the heart and the mind. Very good. Great. 1 second more. Okay, I'm glad to share with everybody. There's a lot going on in the world today. So I want to share a concept called peace through war. And we've been talking about it. It comes out in the news in different places. And usually we think of peace through peace. You know, you talk, you work it out, you get peace. But when we take a look at the history of how things have worked, and particularly the Neville Chamberlain approach didn't work with Hitler. Hitler just kept going because you couldn't appease someone like Hitler. He had a different agenda. Churchill comes in. We're not appeasing anymore. We're ready to fight. Now, more recently, we have Iran. Iran, U.S. has been trying to appease for about 47 years. Hasn't worked, okay? The embassy in Iran got overrun, and people were hostage for, I don't know, almost 2 years, were held hostage in the embassy. And it's a very tricky situation. I actually worked with some of the hostages there, and we were doing a variety of things, even when they were on the airplane leaving. You know, it wasn't a good thing. It was still an appeasement, and that's the point I'm making. And now we have another thing, and since the last 47 years since the mullahs came into power, well over 800 Americans have been killed by the mullah regime over the years. And Obama, mostly all the presidents were all really into appeasement. If we just give them enough money, if we do this, we do that, we'll appease, and then we'll build a nuclear weapon, and they won't do this. None of it really worked in any serious way. now we have the present situation. And just look at the fingers of the whole thing. We're looking at Iran being a huge force in terms of conquering the world, really, which is what we're talking about. And we're talking about Hezbollah, and we're talking about Hamas, and who's behind that? Maybe China is playing a big role in this, in their investment of the situation. And an appeasement clearly is not working. It has not worked. How long do you keep trying it? So now the strategy is shifted, and we'll see what happens. We're seeing what's happening with Trump, the U.S. and Israel are the main players. But in fact, what we know, there's at least 7 countries that Iran has attacked already. So we're in a place where not a lot is happening. We're getting maybe the closest missile to me, where I am in Israel right now, is 15 minutes away. Maybe 10 minutes. So I don't feel we're in immediate danger. But clearly, U.S. bases in the Middle East, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Beersheba, all have been seriously hit. These are big missiles. They cause big problems. One missile in Tel Aviv took down 40 buildings, which that's a lot. So we are actually looking at a serious concern. Appeasement didn't work. And now Trump has made a move to say, well, and it's also his style. This appeasement is not working. We tried talking to you, you're not listening. And so we're not going to appease. We're going to achieve peace through war. And I think that hopefully the appeasement has ended, and he's going for surrender, like we did with Japan, like we did also with Germany. And that seems to be the way the world works. I'm not saying it's the best way. I'm saying it's the way that appears to be working. Now, I have to tell you, last night, there 3 missiles came our way. Today, another 3 missiles. So it's not all over. It looks that way in the way the newspapers are writing about it, but it's not exactly the experience. We are still, where I am, getting alarms, and so I'm aware that the fast-acting approach is better. Better to get this over with rather than have cruise missiles or whatever, ballistic missiles being shot at you. It's not the most comfortable thing. After 47 years, Trump is putting the Trump card down and saying, that's it, we've had enough. So the question is, at least for me in particular, but for many, many, many people, is wait, I thought we could do peace through peace. What happened here? But the heart and mind have to be connected. People have to, in a sense, share some common rules. And that's not what we're seeing from Iran. That's not what we've ever seen from Iran. That's not what we've seen from Hamas. That's not what we've seen from Hezbollah. They're not playing by the same rule book. Now, I'm not making a criticism of them. They're choosing, based on their worldview, to play a certain way. What I'm talking about is a different concept. The concept is pay attention to what the other people are doing, honor their way of thinking, and approach it in a way that can defeat them with their way of thinking. When I played football in college. We had an undefeated team, Amherst College. We studied their offense very intensely. I was a middle linebacker, an offensive guard, and kind of all New England, and et cetera, et cetera. But the point I'm making is I memorized their plays. I memorized all the defensive moves to their offensive moves. I didn't just get out there and let's block this person or we'll tackle that person. No, we understood on 3rd down and 2 or 3rd down and 10, we had a different defense. So what I'm saying is it makes perfect sense to actually study the people, honor them. Because there's a way of honoring them. I mean, they're being killed, I understand that, but we're honoring their approach and approaching it by acknowledging how they're thinking about things. That's the really important little piece here. And then based on that, honoring that kind of their approach, then we can come up with the proper offense and in football, proper defense too, to defeat them. We also, in football, we studied their defensive formations and had a set of plays per every position on the field. So there's no different here, except people are getting killed. And that's a big difference. I mean, 850 people at least since in the last 47 years, Americans have been killed by the Iranians, and that's worth considering in the big picture. So what Trump is doing is he's quarterbacking a different set of understanding. We're not appeasing, we're defeating you. And when you're ready to surrender, because I want total surrender, then we'll work out whatever we have to work out. This is not about a land grab. It's not like a conquering Iran in a way that of an imperialism. It's just simply saying this is where we're approaching the problem, because appeasement didn't work with these people the way they think about it, because it's a religious war. That's another thing that people don't understand. If we don't understand this is a religious war, how can we possibly get the right alignment to figure it out? So it's like, let's honor where these people are, and then let's plan an offense, to counter and a defense to counter that and defeat that. So that's a different way of thinking it, okay? It's peace to honoring where people are at and then developing the right plan to defeat them. And we are talking about survival. We're talking about a threat to the world. We're not just talking about a little bit of a problem in the Middle East and 7 countries being attacked. We're talking about a bigger picture. We're talking about China. We're talking about the Strait of Hormuz, where China gets a lot of its oil, like 15%, 12% of its oil. So they're very real things that we're talking about is going to rebalance the world in a different way. So I honor what Trump is doing, and I'm thankful for the decision, because I personally don't like getting missiles shot at me. And so that's the consideration. Can we really get the picture of peace through strength, which I believe will work, versus peace through appeasement, which clearly hasn't worked for 47 years. So I want to bless everybody for being open to hearing these ideas. And I want to thank Doug, who's behind putting this on for me. And so, peace be with you. I do invite you to a spiritual fasting retreat we're doing in the Dominican Republic. It's a 7-day spiritual fast, and you go to www.drcousinsspiritualfast.com, and you're welcome to join us in the Dominican Republic and have a really special time, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So peace be with you. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. O Attack Aho.